Lands. They are the cornerstone of all Magic's gathering. You can't cast spells without them. Well, except for these, but they're busted and we don't count them. With over 950 non-basic lands to choose from, picking the right land can be difficult, especially when building on a budget. Not everyone can afford OG duels, fetches, shocks, triomes, etc., etc. Thankfully, there is no shortage of budget lands. Of that 950 plus, 641 of them are under $1. There are staples such as Command Tower, Exotic Orchard, and Path of Ancestry. But that's not what this video is about, as I'm sure you could tell from the title and thumbnail. I want to talk about the bounce lands. First introduced back in Ravnica block, each tapping for the guild's colors, plus Arid Archway and Guildless Commons, which tap for 2 colorless. There are also Kuru lands, but I don't want to talk about those in this video. Bounce lands, in my opinion, are one of the most underrated and underutilized lands in EDH. And to be clear, I'm talking about casual EDH, not CEDH. So why do I love bounce lands? Well, there are a few reasons. First, they help guarantee land drops. Second, they can be powerful combo pieces, even in budget decks. And 3, they can return utility lands, ETB lands, and MDFCs back to your hand for additional value. Now come on this journey with me as I enlighten you, and by the end of this video, you'll see the light that is bounce lands. Point number 1, they help guarantee land drops. Technically, all lands give you land drops, but bounce lands provide you with 3 mana across 2 lands. A 2-land hand with a bounce land and a normal land does give you 3 turns of land drops. Now there is always the worry that you have to discard for hand size if you don't have a 1-drop, but I would rather discard a card than have no mana. And that's the worst case scenario. Bounce lands can let you play a 4-drop and then a 6-drop, or a 3-drop and then a 5-drop, essentially smoothing out your curve. And they get even better if you have additional land drops from cards like Explore, Growth Spiral, or Urban Evolution. I also consider them as a source of card advantage. Even though you're taking a turn off, they still provide card advantage since you get more mana with fewer lands. This leads me to point number 2. They can be powerful combo pieces. Now they're a key piece to some 3-card infinite combos, such as Retreat to Coralhelm, Sakura Tribe Scout, and then just a bounce land to get infinite landfalls. Now you can add Skewed Swarm for infinite bugs, Rampaging Baloths for infinite beasts, Tireless Provisioner for infinite treasures and life, Tireless Tracker for infinite clues, and that's just some of them. And there are plenty of variations of this combo. You can replace Sakura Tribe Scout with Walking Atlas, Kodama of the East Tree, or Skyshroud Ranger. Can reveal lands give you infinite mana? No, I didn't think so. So take those and put them right where they belong, into the garbage. Speaking of trash, because segues are hard, bounce lands let you return ETB lands, other utility lands, and MDFCs to your hand for additional value. Maybe you had to slam that Balagad recovery early because you wanted to make sure you hit your lands? Well, now you can get it back and use it as a spell. Or maybe you put a pathway down, but you need more mana of another color, so you can return it and then play it on its backside. Or maybe you want to bounce a Surveil or Scry land to fill to the top of your deck again. Now, of course, bounce lands aren't perfect, so let's address some of the downsides. First, if you have a lot of land destruction in your meta, bounce lands get a lot worse. Personally, if I can strip mine a bounce land, I'll do it most of the time. And in faster metas, they also tend to be worse, which is why we don't see them in CEDH, among other reasons. But does that mean they're bad? Well, no, of course not. When evaluating cards, context matters. Just like a card might be a powerhouse in Standard, but in Modern it's just unplayable. Let's look at a card like Reanimate. It's a powerhouse in Vintage Cube because of all the support it has, but in Outlaws of Thunder Junction Limited, it's not nearly as busted. Don't get me wrong, it's still great there, but we don't have Entomb effects or creatures like Atroxa and Gristlebrand. And just like the original duels, shocks and triomes are great in decks with fetches, in more budget decks, they're just expensive mana fixing that you can't fetch for. Do I run bounce lands in every single one of my decks? Well, no, of course not. But do I make it a priority to add them to my slower decks, such as Guff Super Friends? Yes, because hitting my land drops in that deck is more important than the speed. So let me know your thoughts on bounce lands in the comment section down below. Do you think they should be played more, played less, overrated, underrated? And make sure to check out my other videos shown on screen here. Alrighty, I'll see you nerds next time.